So today I will be reviewing Growing Up Hip Hop Season 3, Episode 8. Oh my god, you guys. I loved this episode. I mean, I just like this show. You know, I review shows all week. A lot, you know, all reality TV shows most of the time. Got a couple of script shows in there. And it always, it starts to turn into a formula. You know, it's always, you know, somebody's always sleeping with somebody else's man. There's always a fight. There's always argument. You know, it really does become a formula. That's why this show is refreshing. Like, I can't wait till Thursdays because this show is infused with real life situations. Now, I know I say that every time, but it's true. And it's really refreshing. Like, you know, ratchet shows have their place too, but so do shows like these. And I'm enjoying this show almost a little bit more than I am the ratchet shows. So let's talk about it. So this episode opens up with Brianna talking to Dame Dash. Now, I don't know if you watched my previous videos, but I always had this image of Dame Dash in my head. Like, he's a yeller. Like, he is, you do what I say or you're out of there. You know, he's just a real pain, you know, in the you-know-what. That's what I always thought in my head. And so I just really thought that when Brianna told him what was going on with Boogie, he would like do something outrageous, like start cussing, or call the cops, I don't know, something insane. So I was very shocked by his reaction and impressed by his reaction, and my heart softened by his reaction because he was the total opposite. He said, my son is hurting. This is a cry for help. And, you know, this hurts me, but I'm going to be there for him. Oh my God. Now I'm a huge fan of Dame Dash. Like, I like, you know, a-holes, I guess. You know, he was okay, but now I really have respect for him. Not just because a lot of people respect Dame Dash because of, you know, he's a good businessman, he made a lot of money. No, this is more powerful to me, is when you know how to be a father. And it almost brought me to tears. Because what he said about his son was true. He said, the reason that Boogie is going in front of people this high, he wants help. And it is help. And so he thanked Brianna, and Brianna started opening up about her life. My heart softened up a little to her too, because, you know, up until the last episode, like, she was getting on my nerve. Like, I was like worse than Angela. Like, I wanted to turn the TV off every time she came on the screen. But to hear her story, the real story, like I've heard before, oh, you know, I ate Velveeta slices and, you know, drank Kool-Aid and I can take it, I'm tough, I can take it. You know, she's always talking about how tough she is. But when she shared her story with Dame Dash about being hurt growing up and using drugs to cope, that's real. That's real. First of all, you have to respect anybody that tells their story with pure honesty. Because when you put your story out there, the first thing people do is judge it, tear it up. You know how people are, you know, not me, but you know, other people. You know, they say mean things when they don't realize the things that they say hurt worse. So for Brianna to even open up about her situation was, I just respected her for doing that. And she also talked about, she went into further detail. So, and Dame Dash sat there and he listened, and I totally, that's why they say you can't judge a book by its cover. Like, don't do it, because you never know what's in somebody's heart. I'm sorry I judged you, Damon. So Boogie has the conversation with his dad. His dad invites him over. He says, you know, I'm gonna paraphrase here, you know, how bad is the problem? You know, is it, you know, how bad is the alcohol and the pill? I mean, the lean and the pills. Like, he got really honest with him, and Boogie started crying. Now, I'm really a softie at heart here, because when he started crying, it was raw. raw emotion. This was no staged scene. You know how they, some reality TV shows, you stage the scene. No, this was really a raw, special moment that they shared with the public. It was insane. And I felt for Boogie. Now, it's easy to jump down a drug addict's throat and say, you're irresponsible, you're this, you're that, you're this. Because in a way that they're very irresponsible. But everybody has weaknesses in life, and not everyone can handle certain problems. And to me, when you turn to drugs, it really is like, in my opinion, a situation where you go, I don't know how to deal with life right now. That is very hard. So I was impressed that Boogie opened his heart to the cameras, to Dame, and I was even more impressed by Dame being a father. And so he decided to invite Boogie to Vegas, and in an effort to give him something to do and get him out of that situation for a while, make sure that he felt loved, and also a way where they could bond during this time, be together. And Boogie accepted the invitation, and it was just a really heartwarming, real moment. So Romeo decides to get everyone together, and Romeo is a little Master P. Like, he's like level-headed, work hard. Like, I really, really like Romeo. He invited Angela and TJ. Now TJ's bad. Remember, Jason Mazo. I know his real name. I can't think of Grandmaster Jay's son. I just keep calling him by his real name. Grandmaster Jay's son. And he's really close with the Simmons girls because their parents were both in Run DMC. And so he was on the previous seasons. He just wasn't on this season. So he's back. That's good. I really like TJ a lot. It feels like Reverend's children and TJ, it feels like those kids had really good fathers. And so I really like TJ, so it was good to see him back. So he's sitting down, there's TJ, there's Boogie, there's Angela, and there's Romeo, and they're all catching up. And Romeo decides to invite everyone to this prayer session that he thinks he should have. Now, I don't know what it is, but every time I see Angela and Romeo, like, they didn't do anything unusual. I just, in my head, think I see chemistry. But, those days are long and gone. Like, I'm going to have to get over it. It's going to take me a minute. But that's what I saw during that scene. There might be something wrong with me. So they all have this prayer meeting at Master P's house, Romeo's dad, and Romeo's dad is talking. Master P is another very, very good father. I mean, those boys are really lucky, because a lot of times, a lot of people's fathers aren't even around, let alone around to help them out with problems, but even better, around to help them out with problems and give them really great advice. He's like a little, I don't know what you call it, but Master P is a very, very smart man. And it shows in his son. So he's there and he's talking real with him. He's saying how people can't use drugs as a crutch. It's a bad trap to get into, and he's just being real. He's preaching. Actually, that's what he's doing. And Brianna busted out in tears and ran out the room. And Boogie and Pep followed her. And she revealed some really raw emotions. She said that she missed Mary J. Blige, her stepmom. And that when that marriage ended, and this is fresh. This is like, they might still be married, as far as I know. Like, this is fresh. Like, she's going through this right now. So there's nothing she's talking about in the past. She's talking about now. And she said that when Mary left her father, she left the family, and she was a very influential person in her life, and Mary understood her, and she was her go-to person. Made me feel bad for Brianna, because Brianna is not talking to her father, not by her choice, by his. You know, her dad, you know, she might love him, but, you know, he's got a lot going on. You know, the whole, you know, Mary J. Blige superhead situation, you know, and all kinds of stuff is going on. And he just sounds like he's out there. Doesn't mean she doesn't love him, but it's really hard to turn into a really mature, smart person when there's no one around to teach you. Like, not everybody has a Master P or Dame Dash in their life. So I have to ease up off of her a little bit. You know, I'm always coming down on her. She used to just make the skin under my fingernails itch. She did. But she's in a lot of pain. And she's in a lot of pain from her past. And she's in a lot of pain now. And so I felt really bad when she was crying, because she said, I feel alone. Oh, I'm not like a cold-hearted person. Like, I wouldn't want to be in that situation. So I felt bad for her to be in that situation. And if you think about it, she is alone. When you see her in her storyline, she's always with a friend or by herself, or, you know, hanging on to these no good boyfriends that she's running into, and she's always drinking a lot. If you think about it, like, even when they went speed dating, she's drinking, she's running her mouth, but really she's alone. So, you know, I hope sometimes when you're not born into a good family, sometimes you have to make your own, which is very hard to do. And I hope that she does that. And it seems like she's off to a good start with Boogie and, you know, Rome and Master P and Dame in her life, because she doesn't have a foundation. So, you know, I got to ease off her a little bit too. And I'm really thankful that she, you know, she looked really pretty this episode. She covered those freckles up with some foundation. So she looked nice. So Christinia's storyline this episode was her grandmother, what is her name? Ederling DeBarge, supposedly brought Janet Jackson's and James DeBarge baby over. Because this girl claims that, you know, those are her parents. I have a better chance of being Janet Jackson's baby than she is. Like, this girl looks can anybody just claim to be, you know, can I just be like, you know, Halle Berry's my mother? This is not, oh my God, this is not Janet Jackson's baby. Like, what? This girl looks nothing like James or Janet. I mean, you can't just be any old hooligan coming up to me saying that, you know, you're my stepsister and I'm gonna be as nice to you as Christinia was. Like, she's just lucky, because I'd have been like, do not bring her in here, and definitely take a DNA test. But Christinia was being very nice. She heard her sob story. I think it's a sob made up story. They end up taking the DNA test, and we're supposed to get the results back next week, but I don't have to wait till next week. I'm telling you right now, there's just no way in hell, not one iota, not an inkling, this girl is Janet Jackson or James DeBarge baby. I mean, what is she after, huh? Money? You know, there's some real nuts out there. I'm just saying. And the final storyline is TJ had his skateboarding party at the top of a roof. Romeo couldn't make it, of course, because he's working. Like, he's a little Master P. I'm really serious. Like, he's a spitting image of his dad. But everyone else made it, including Angela and Brianna. Well, you know, now this is a delicate situation, because my heart is softening to Brianna. But that's just me. You know, she's still raw and brash and, you know, hard to be around. So I can understand why Angela wants absolutely nothing to do with her. Like, none. So Angela's in the party. She's having a good time. She's talking to Peppa. And in comes Brianna. She goes just like this. Wait a minute. She starts looking over Pep's head. Brianna's here, turns around and walks out. Said, take this mic off of me. I'm done. She is not playing. I mean, now, although I'm softening up to Brianna, I understand Angela's behavior. You cannot treat people any old kind of way and then not understand it when they don't like you. You know, that's another thing you gotta learn, Brianna. You know, you might want to take a softer approach. Like maybe go to Boogie, have Boogie hook something up and get Angela's mind prepared, and you come in with a purse full of I'm sorry's. You know, that might work. But you just popping up on her, this is the second time. She wants nothing to do with you. It's too bad. I mean, besides that, there wasn't too much more going on, but to me, that was an already action-packed episode full of emotions. You know, Peppa kind of chewed TT out for giving Egypt the book, and she should have, you know. TT is always sticking her nose where it does not belong. But so that was a very good episode. I enjoyed it immensely, and I will be there next week. Thanks for watching. Talk to you next time. Bye.